start a podcast.
And we're back.
And we're back.
We are so back.
For episode 9. That's also a shout out to Wayne's World.
Love Wayne's World.
I haven't seen that movie in years.
And we're back. My mom will love that one, actually. Shout out to the mom. Welcome back for episode 9. We're excited to be back. Apologies for the little bit of a delay there. We get busy. We're all dads. We sometimes aren't in the mood. A couple times we aren't in the mood.
Just not vibing.
So, we don't want to put out a bad podcast episode for everybody that is listening. Even though I think that's probably dwindled a little bit since we've haven't been putting out regularly.
Yeah. These are all gold, and if anything, we're on the up and up.
Yeah,
after
absolutely.
for 3 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we've got a good episode today. Excited to get hopping in and talk about some stuff, but checking in on everybody since it's a Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. How's everybody doing? How's everybody hanging in there? It's busy. It's a busy time.
Yeah, summer's crazy, man. It's a good thing because I love summer. I love just being able to be outside. But dude, it gets so busy and sometimes overwhelming. But overall, good on my end.
Yeah, just
same.
busy.
Summer is
July's
very
going to
busy.
be insane for us.
Yeah.
So we're going to be running around all month.
Yeah.
I'm curious, really quick, just on because I've talked about this with Carly a couple times, and I want to get your guys' thoughts and opinions. Do you feel like? I feel like as an adult, I kind of dread summer. Like in high school, high school was a little bit different because I think for most of us, summer was just football camps and whatnot anyway, so we weren't really like going out and enjoying summer, I think, as much as others. But do you guys feel the same way? Do you feel like I just feel like summer is so busy because everybody wants to be out. You got family trips. You got there's so much that's constantly taking place that I just feel like summer is overwhelming sometimes. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No, I feel that way too. I hate summer. Plus, I hate the heat, so it doesn't help.
That's fair.
All that swass Chris gets.
I think
bad.
part of it for me, Ken, is like there's so much that I want to do. Like I think during the summer, it's like, oh, it's warm. I can do things outside. I can do things around the house. I can do things with the family. It's just like there's so many things I want to do, and then it's like I can't do most of it. I end up kind of taking care of responsibilities, and then it's like, well, I guess.
That's why I choose not to have responsibilities. Let that lawn
Not
grow.
a responsible person.
Yeah,
It'd be nice. I'd love to go back to the time of my life where I thought I had a lot of responsibilities, but I actually didn't.
Yeah.
Dude, I honestly, I watch all so we have a bunch of kids that every day they're out riding bikes. They're at the pool here in my community, literally every day, and I see them ride by. I'm like, man, what I would give to just have a 2-week summer vacation from work and responsibilities. Someone can come mow my lawn for me, and I can just chill.
Yeah.
So I agree. I miss it. Like as much as I hate it because you're right, Ken. It was sports in the summer and still running around. And I was like, oh man, my summers are swamped. But it was so good. And now I'm like, I got to be an adult, and summer's just another month at this point.
Yeah, and you've got responsibilities, and you got. We all got kids, so we're all dads, and mowing lawns and all that stuff. My dad, he refuses to give me any sort of credit for anything that I did when we were kids. And so he is convinced that I never mowed our lawn. Never. And my dad did a lot of the yard work, but I mowed the lawn a lot. Okay.
Are you sure?
And
I could see you
100%.
not mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
Dude, that's not true at all.
I could see it.
No, because I'd throw on one of my cutoffs, throw on an old pair of shoes,
What the heck is that?
It's up to you too.
Oh, yeah.
Mine never works. I must have a hitchhiker or something.
It's like the Zoom thing. I don't know. and I'd go out, throw on my headphones, listen to like old Akon, and I'd mow the lawn. I mowed the lawn more than my dad gives me credit for, and clearly more than Chris gives me credit for.
Canyon's mowing the lawn to Locked Up by Akon, really throwing it back.
Yeah, it was a good time. No,
Sure.
my dad, yeah, it was Father's Day. We're filming this just after Father's Day. Yeah, I don't. Do you guys? I'm trying to think of. So, I mean, Braden's dad, Dave.
Big Dave.
Big old
Great guy.
Dave.
Dave has been a part of my life for a long time, but there's one specific time that Dave terrified me. and Dave is like, if you know Dave, you know he's like the nicest person ever. But one time we were sleeping over at Braden's house, a couple of us, and Braden's window out of his bedroom like went right along the back of the roof, and then you could climb down onto like the balcony and you could sneak out. So a couple of us sneak out. We head down to Smith's. We come back. Dave's just chilling in his garments, like Braden said, like on the third episode, and he just rips into. I think it was me, Jacob.
Kyler there?
I think it was Kyler.
I think it was it Kyler or Connor?
I think it was
I think
Kyler.
it was Kyler.
Me, Jacob, and Kyler. That sounds right. Yeah. What a rowdy trio there.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I haven't seen that trio together in a long time.
It's true. But yeah, Dave. That's the only time that I've ever been scared of Dave.
That was very
He,
funny.
Ripped into me.
Me and Braden were upstairs listening, like,
Yeah, you guys.
oh
were chilling.
boy.
Me and Chris stayed back, and thank goodness, because
Yeah, I didn't want any part of that.
the next.
I'm happy.
Did you guys sleep over that night too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember the next morning was so awkward, like, because my dad
remember
came
that.
out, and you guys were just kind of like,
I mean, what are we supposed to
like,
say?
what did we say? Like, did we say anything?
Dave never
Sweating
really
bullets.
got upset, and then he was upset, and it's like, all right.
I mean,
what
to
are
be
we
fair, it was
supposed
like
to-
2 a.m.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that late.
It was pretty late.
I should ask my dad about that. I
See if he
guarantee you,
remembers.
he doesn't remember.
Yeah,
He
probably
probably
not.
doesn't remember.
Because if there's one thing I know about my dad, like, because you're right, Kenny, my dad's really loud. Like, he doesn't get mad a lot, but he's really loud.
Yeah.
But if you interrupt his sleep, that's when he gets mad. I remember, and you guys have probably seen this, like watching a football game. My dad passes out on the floor, either on his side or
Yep.
stomach straight up in the air, like just gone.
Yep.
And so growing up, like his shirt would come up over his belly. And so we go and like stick things in his belly button or like tickle him with a feather on his chin. And without fail, every time he comes up swinging. And I specifically remember catching one in the jaw, just punches me right smack dab in the jaw. And oh, dude, he like I I will warn when all my nieces and nephews were younger, we would warn them like, hey, don't go wake Grandpa because he'll knock you out.
He'll sock
He'll
you.
give you a
And
swift.
it wasn't just like a scrambling; it was like a full-on fish right hook to the jaw.
He'll give you a quick 1-2.
I'm walking out, bleeding out, losing teeth.
That's hilarious. The only time I've
So
ever
don't
been
interrupt us.
the only time I've ever been scared by one of your dads is Canyon's dad.
That was very
That was
scary.
that was.
I know what
that
you're
was
talking
a little
about.
bit scary.
Yeah.
Is he gonna get mad if I tell that story?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He likes being talked about anyways.
He
So. Despite what he says.
Canyon was-
Consistently comments. We
Canyon
like it.
was moving some stuff, and he called me and Brady. Brady, were you there? You were there. Or no?
Where?
I don't think Brady was there.
Was it
I don't
just
think
me
I
and
was
you?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just you two.
Okay. Well, we were going to help. He asked me and Braden to come help him, and Jeremy wasn't a huge fan of Canyon moving out, and so when we came to help, he stopped us at the front door and kicked us out of his house and was yelling at us, and it scared the crap out of me.
We didn't even make it past the threshold of
Yeah.
the door, and like we're just met by Jeremy. Like, oh no, oh no.
It was a little bit scary. But that's the
Yeah.
only time that Jeremy or Dave or Kim have ever scared me.
I don't think my dad was always freaking working and stuff like that. We didn't hang out at my dad's house too much.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys know by now, but you know that he wasn't like mad at you.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we
But
know, but in the
but
moment,
at that moment, that was a little bit scary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, he was just trying to make it a shit show for me
You deserved
and make
it.
it so that I had to like that. I mean, I don't know if you guys keep saying I deserve stuff. I don't know if I would say that I deserve the things, but
hey, listen, it was just all there for content later on for our podcast.
Yeah, that's all
He
it
just
was.
knew one day we'd be starting this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna talk about it,
Yeah.
reminisce a little bit.
yeah, no. Shout out to my dad. He's I think he might be the biggest fan of the podcast.
I think so too.
100%.
He brings it up every single time I see him. Every single time I see him, he's like, "Dude, where's the next episode?" Or he'll talk about whatever we talked about on the last episode, like the shit-a-roni episode. He's like, "I can't believe you
That
put
one
that
will go well.
on the
Family
podcast."
dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but he,
I was gonna say I ran into him at a softball game the other day, and we talked about it for like 30 minutes. We got some good ideas planned out. So
Oh boy.
future episodes, there may be some sprinkle of Jeremy's ideas in there that he threw out there when we chatted.
yeah, no, my dad, he's a big fan, but he's just for like on his
Uh-oh. Oh,
Having
no.
mic issues again.
Oh,
issues
mic
again.
issues.
Oh, boy.
This has been an ongoing thing for Canyon for all those listening. His mic decides to. It's kind of like a VidAngel mic. When he starts swearing, it just starts muting. So right now he's just swearing back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It just
Watch your
randomly
mouth.
mutes on him. Yeah.
This is a
on.
kid's show.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. Oh, he's
Oh,
getting
no.
the taps in.
He's getting the double tap.
Oh, tap, tap.
I think
old-
we could probably,
the old
we could
mic
probably
tap,
keep,
tap.
keep rolling with the Father's Day stuff here.
Yeah, Katie, you want us to
like-
continue? We'll continue and while you work on
We'll
that.
just keep
yeah,
rolling
yeah,
here
yeah.
and
You
see
just
if Kenny
fit,
works
you
and
just
stuff
fiddle
out.
with that mic there.
I think my dad.
You don't
I
stroke
think
it
my
like
dad
that.
and all of us were probably because I got coached by Dave in baseball when me and Braden were like 8.
Still don't remember that.
I love that
Tyler.
you don't
I had-
remember that.
I have a picture of me, Braden, Tyler. Tyler is Braden's brother, and Dave, and Tanner T. We'll call him Tanner T. Okay.
Whoa, dude.
That was close.
That
Almost
was
slipped.
close.
But Tanner T loves the pod, so shout out Tanner T. But all of us played for and I think it was. I think we were on the
Pee-wee
White Sox or
baseball.
something like that in Little League. But you don't remember that?
Nope.
Braden, I remember your big-eyed glasses and buck teeth. Like,
Well, I only had 2 teeth. All the rest of them were
Well, that was
gone.
the thing.
I literally just had the 2 pointy teeth, and that's
I-
it.
I want to see if I can find that picture.
Please
wanna
do,
see if
'cause I don't
I've
believe
got
you.
it. I've got it somewhere in a scrapbook or something like that, and I'll pull it up. But I was also coached by Chris's dad,
Oh,
Alan,
geez.
in football. We had a year that we played together.
Yeah.
That was before. Was that before Jeremy and Alan?
Yeah. Before Jeremy
Joined
and
and-
Alan, or my dad and
'Cause
Jeff.
that was when-
And, yeah.
That was with Munger.
Munger. Yeah. Well, he coached with my dad for a long time.
2 or 3 years before that.
Yeah. And even after that.
Oh, really?
yeah, because I had Munger as a coach too.
Yeah.
Because I remember, because that was before that. So I kind of was like introduced to your guys' dads prior to them all coaching together and like whatever.
In different ways. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it's funny. Like, obviously, we talk a lot about sports on this podcast, but I mean, just shout out to our dads again. Like, I think all of our dads, not only in a sports aspect, but just in life in general, like, like played a pretty big role. Like I mean Brady obviously I can't remember, but my dad, coached you when you were young. I know I was coached by Chris, Kenny, both your dads, and like some of my biggest learning moments in sports, my best sports memories, all that like are coming from what they taught me and some of those things and so like it's cool to reminisce and be like, oh hey, like not only are we've been best friends for this long, but it's like this big family. Like your dads are like my dads and teaching me in all aspects of life. I think that's sweet.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's pretty rare, like, that we all have a pretty good relationship with each other's dads. Like, I think that's a pretty big. I think we take it for granted, myself included, that we all have good father figures in our lives that are active and present. And yeah, like, I feel comfortable chatting and talking with all of your guys' dads and catching up, and all almost all of them have been impactful in my life as well as my own dad. And I think fatherhood looks a lot different probably now than it did when we were growing up, but I'm grateful for how my dad approached being a father, and just his outlook and perspective on things. So
Yeah, my dad. I was lucky enough to have my dad coach me in literally every single sport from the time I was 3 years old to high school.
Poor guy.
Yeah. And not only me, he also helped coach my brother. My sisters didn't really do sports. One sister played soccer a little bit, but they both swam. They were on the swim team in high school.
Are you saying swimming's not a sport, Chris?
Yeah, it is. Well, it is, because Braden and I did the stupid swim alumni thing. We'll talk about that later, but that was a shit show. It was awful.
I threw up.
Anyway, but the cool thing that I admire about my dad is he didn't coach my sisters, but he dove into what makes a good swimmer. How do you get better at swimming? It's not just the sports that he knows and loves. He cares about his kids and what they're doing, and he wants it to be what's important to them or to us is important to him, and that's something that I admire about my dad. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we talked about that, I think, from the very get-go, just with being dads, how we want to support our kids. All jokes aside, I know I was joking about, forcing Kason to only play baseball, but I think that's really cool. I think that's an important thing. One thing for me, like, I remember my dad coached me through baseball all growing up, but I remember even after he stopped coaching, my dad, I think, missed maybe 2 of my games my whole high school career, even like playing in men's leagues after high school and things like that. He would show up, and for me, I was talking about this with Tessa the other day. For me, like, that was so cool. My dad would, be behind the fence while I'm playing, and I would know he was there. He would whistle. There was a distinct whistle if he knew I needed to move or needed to do something. You know how they coach from the stands.
They can't stop.
My dad still does that with his grandkids, but I'd hear a whistle and be like, oh, that's my dad. Where's he at? What am I doing wrong? He's going to call me out, talk to me about this after the game. But he was always there, and I love that. And, like, for me, for Kason and my future kids, like, I want to make a point to be like, I will make it to every event, band practice, sports, swim, whatever, and I want to be that sport no matter what.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older, kind of going along with that same train of thought, one of the things that in talking about dads, like, I think my relationship with my dad has gotten a lot deeper, but a lot better since I've gotten older, like since being married, because I've been able to, like, reflect on a lot of different things and also communicate with him in actually caring about what his opinion is and how he approaches, different situations in life. And I think back in high school and in sports and everything like that, it was kind of like I'd ask, didn't really care. It was kind of like, oh, what do you think? Or maybe I didn't even ask him at all. But I think now, like, just kind of relying or kind of bouncing ideas off of him. Like, we talk every day, and it could be about nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it could just be about nothing. But it's like, I do feel like that's one thing that I have hope that I can instill in my kids is feeling like they can trust me as a source of knowledge and of wisdom and, something like that down the line. Because I know how much I've appreciated that as I've gotten older and as I've moved into being a father myself. So,
I have Tessa for the wisdom and knowledge side because if Casey comes to me for that, he's in
Good
trouble.
thing. Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm curious. Do you guys are your guys' dads different now as grandfathers versus how they were
Yeah.
as dads?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because my dad is an entirely different person.
Yeah.
Jax.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad is like so lovey and so like, yeah, Jax, let's go get whatever you want, and he wants to play with him all the time, and he just is like so peppy and excited to do whatever Jax wants to do. And it's not that my dad wasn't like that, but he just was not.
Not like all the time.
No,
Yeah.
and he was not.
I think-
he was not like. He wasn't the most affectionate person
Yeah.
to me or Tristan growing up, or to any of my siblings. But with Jax, he is just like, and he talks in this little like baby voice with Jax all the
Dude,
time.
that cracks me up. I want to hear
I
this
know.
come out.
I cannot imagine Jeremy being like that at all.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And people are like, "Man, he's such a good grandpa." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't know who this person is.
I don't know what's wrong with this
I've
guy.
never seen this person before."
Yeah. That's
Dude, he just flipped a switch into straight grandpa mode.
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, I guess.
So today Easton had rugby games, right? And he had an off day. He didn't play great. He was a little nervous. He kept getting injured and crying and coming off the field. And I'm getting frustrated that he's being so soft. He's 7, right? So I shouldn't be getting angry. He's 7 years old. But at the same time, I was raised like my
be that.
dad is
You stepped
livid
into
if
Alan
I am
Moore's shoes.
crying. If I am crying on the field, my dad is pissed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No. Easton comes off the field and he's like, "Oh, Easton, are you okay?" Gives him a. I'm like, what are you doing?
And he's probably pissed at you for getting mad at him,
Yeah.
saying, "Get back on the field,
Yeah.
stop being
He's
a
like,
sissy."
he's just 7. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah. 100%.
like what are you?
100%.
Who are you?
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean chill?
Yeah,
You're not chill with me.
he is
You know
fine. He
how
needs to
you
get
raised
his ass back out there. He is fine. I'm like, oh my gosh.
My dad the other day, so growing up, obviously we were a big baseball family, and my dad was diehard, like, you are going to focus on baseball. You're not going to play another sport. Like, baseball is your sport. And looking back, I wish I would have played other sports. But he's like, no, it's going to mess up your baseball swing. It's going to do this. Now he's talking to Tyler's boy, who's a pretty good baseball player. He's like, oh, yeah, you should go wrestle. You should play football. It's going to toughen you up. I'm like, I asked you so many times if I can go play this sport, and you were like, nope, it's going to mess up your baseball swing. And I mean, in his defense, I was a good baseball player, but I'm like, where did this flip of the switch come from?
That's hilarious.
I mean, I probably wouldn't have been good at any other sports, so he was just trying to let me down softly.
You
and
would
say
have been
he wanted me to focus
great
on
at other
baseball,
sports.
And that's not true.
Because you were good at football
you were a good athlete.
but in Mighty Mites
and basketball.
You just
No,
committed. You just committed
You
all
were.
of your efforts and talents to baseball.
well, because I wasn't allowed. Just kidding. He would have let me. I ran cross country.
Oh, jeez.
You did.
You did that for the girl.
True.
Girls.
Girls.
Oh, that's
What-
not one.
So, anyways, Brady,
Not one
anything,
specifically. Yeah, Brady, you got anything to say?
I feel like I don't know.
I did it.
I feel like Kim is kind of the same person no matter what.
Yeah.
my dad's been pretty consistent. I think, funny enough, you mentioned seeing it more like a different person. I think I've seen, to an extent, I've seen a different person with Gray, not so much with my girls, because I don't know if I should be, and it does make me a little bit more frustrated because Gray is my brother, so I have a, so it's like I got a completely different treatment, yeah, no, I think when I was growing up and not in sports and everything like that, my dad's work was really restrictive in a lot of things. So he didn't make it to a ton of my games and stuff like that. But he was always the first phone call that I got after, games and practices and tryouts, whatever. Made it out to as many as he could. But I think with Gray, it's been interesting to watch the dynamic there because now all of us are older, and so it's kind of like my dad spends a ton of time with Gray doing hobbies, sports, everything under the sun. But no, it's like, yeah, I'm like, okay, like we did that stuff, but not to the extent of like, hey, let's grab the boat and go to Pal for a weekend. Like, yeah. I would have died and gone to heaven if we had done that, yeah. But not necessarily now. But I mean, it's cool to see because makes me kind of reflective on like wanting to have that relationship with my kids from the get-go, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, as parents, we're all going to learn as we go, but it is interesting to kind of watch and just kind of, observe a little bit of kind of how things change over time.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, absolutely.
I'm curious real fast because Brady was talking about how his dad was the first call he made after a practice, game tryout. I'm curious what it was like. So football, whatever sport, you had a bad game. You didn't play well. You, for whatever reason, you screwed up. You didn't play well.
Yeah.
Tell me about that car ride home with your dad's.
I didn't. He would yell at me and say, "You didn't stand on the sidelines very good."
Those waters weren't filled.
Those waters weren't filled. Yeah.
Chris, you were the best water boy there was.
Thank you.
My dad. So I was going to bring this up because I had thought about it, but I didn't bring it up. My dad, no matter what, whether I made a good play or a bad play, especially in high school, my dad sat up at the very top of the stands every single game.
Yep.
And whether it was a good play or a bad play, my dad did nothing. Like, there was no emotion.
Just stone cold?
Yeah. Like, if I made a good play, I'm looking up at my dad, and he's, like, just sitting there. Everybody else. Like,
emotion.
And he's the only person I see out of everybody. He's the only person I see in the stands. But he is just sitting there, stone cold, whatever. If I make a mistake, maybe the most I got from him was like, let's go. That's like all I got. But my dad would never let me drive to the school on game days because he wanted to be there at the school to pick me up, to drive me home, to talk about the game.
Forceful intervention there.
No, seriously. We would always stop at Wendy's. I'd get a Baconator, fries or whatever, and he would just talk about the game with me. And
I was going to say that right there sounds like a core memory, good or bad.
No, 100%. I very much vividly remember
a Baconator.
those times with my dad. But he would everything I could have done better. Like you could have done this better. You could have done this better. Even if it was something good, could have done this better. And it was hard for me when I was a kid. I appreciate it now because it helps me, I think, as an adult of like, there's a little bit of a balance, right, where you have to. It's good to continue to strive for things, but you have to celebrate the wins and the good things that you do, and continue to push for more. But
do you celebrate your work promotions with a Baconator from Wendy's now?
Maybe.
I'll take you to get a Baconator, you can.
Yeah, you've earned it.
But I do remember one time I got a shout out from from Coach Larry during a film session because I had watched like a whole bunch of film the night before. It was not me watching film. It was my dad watching the film and then giving me notes to take.
No way.
100%. 100%.
I think the only shot I got from Coach Larry was him telling me I need to tell my mom to be quiet.
I wrote
Larry
that
doesn't.
in your journal. Oh, you're muted, Chris.
Larry didn't beat around the bush.
Larry didn't know my name.
That's not true. Not,
Who
not,
the hell's
not
this small little
at all.
kid in here?
That's not true. We knew your name. We know
Coach
you very
DePay,
much.
they're like,
Oh,
Coach
great.
DePay,
The
we
Mighty
need-
Mites
we
are
need
up the
gunners.
sideline again.
Yeah. Who said this kid could be on the team?
You
So,
letting anybody play now, aren't they?
so off of that, what's something that you guys are, now that we're all dads, what stuff that like that you are planning to, that you want to continue to instill in your kids from what you learned from your parents, and like what are you, is there anything that you like are adamant about being different?
It's a good question.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think, and this might sound bad, but for my dad specifically, like I want to instill a toughness in my kids, right? Where, and kind of like you were talking about, Chris, with Easton, he's having an off day playing rugby, he's always getting injured,
Yeah.
right? And I think there's a certain amount of toughness that is taught, right? And I remember my dad, he taught me that, and I want to instill that in my kids, right? And Tessa, I don't know, we haven't talked about this, so I may open up a can of worms here.
Oh
but-
boy. Oh boy.
So, no, it's not going to get edited out, guys. But well, we'll see. But no, I want to make sure my kids are tough and that they aren't soft and they're able to take a little bit of a hit, whether that's emotionally, whether that's physically. Like I think that's important, especially in today's world. Like there's crap out there.
Yep.
Yeah. To kind of add to that, I think a good word for it is resilience.
Yeah.
I talked to Carly about this a lot, and kind of like how we want the girls to approach and how I want Max to approach, just life in general. And one of the things that we've always talked about is just being confident, being confident in themselves. And if you know Eden, she's a little bit more reserved, but Ellie's as confident as they come. And so it's kind of interesting to kind of see their different personalities. And, but yeah, no, I'd echo everything you said, Brad. I think, toughness and resilience is huge. And, just being confident in their abilities and what they're able to do is a big one for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Just knowing that, I think being able to push through hard things is a big one as well. Because, like you said, Braden, I don't want my kids to be soft. And soft is,
It's hard to.
it can come off as like
Yeah.
a rude thing,
Yeah,
but it's
some
not,
softness in
right?
certain
It's
things.
I want my kids to be, like Brady said, confident, Braden, tough, and be able to push through hard stuff and see that on the other side of that is something that's really good or going to make you feel really good, right? And so I think that part of that, my story from earlier of Easton coming off the field, they weren't big injuries, right? He jammed his finger, right? For a 7-year-old, that probably doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, you're okay. You're going to be okay. Push through it and see what happens. And so I think doing that for both of my kids is something that I really, really want them to learn and understand.
Yeah, I think you guys nailed it. I think that all comes from kind of how we were raised, right? Like I think there's been a little bit of a shift, like from how we were raised to kind of how some of the generations after, and kind of their approach to things. And I think that's all. One of the things that I've noticed with Jax is sometimes he will say that he can't do something. Like he's like, and even if it's something small, like I can't clean my room or I can't, do X, Y, and Z. It's like you can, whether it's a want to, or whether it's like you're nervous or scared to do something, like you can do it. You just have to have that confidence, have that resilience, have that toughness to like to give it a go, and and problem solve on your own.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part of it too, is just being able to. I don't. I love Jax. I want him to succeed. I know that you guys all love your children. But at the same time, like, I want him to come to his own solutions on his own, on how to approach things, and be confident in that decision, and then self-reflect after, of like, oh, how could I have done this different, or
learn
this
from
went
it.
really well. I'm glad that I did this.
Yeah.
So I think that's. I think. I think. I mean, I think you're all great fathers. I have enjoyed watching you guys become dads, and like to watch from afar. And I've been able to see it at different points. Like, obviously, Chris and Brady, you guys became fathers first in our kind of friend group, and then me and Braden came a little bit later. But I was able to see Braden become a dad after I was a dad, and so that was a different perspective for me. Um, but I think, I mean, not to get all sappy, but I think you guys are incredible fathers, and it's awesome to watch you guys just interact with your kids in all the different ways. And like, I am proud to call you guys my friends, and see how you act as fathers is one of the reasons why. So
Yeah, likewise for you, man.
Agreed.
Appreciate all you do to teach me how to be a dad, and helping be dads to my kid, because everybody knows if I was doing it on my own as a dad, that's why I got best friends hanging around still. So, needless to say, we're the best dads out there. So if you guys need dad tips,
Whoa.
just chime in. We'll fix all your dad problems.
All right.
I'll throw this out as well. Not to get like, I'm not obviously not to get too sappy and stuff like that, but I think it's one of the coolest things to have best friends who my kids, almost consider uncles.
Yeah.
Like they're just like,
Yeah.
maybe not like second dads quite yet, because I think we're still very young. We haven't had a chance to do a lot of stuff together. But I do think that like when my kids see you guys or other members of our friend group and kind of can acknowledge them as like a parent figure, right, is kind of cool, and is something that I've always wanted. Because personally, I didn't grow up knowing like hardly any of my dad's friends.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know. So like that was an interesting thing for me, is to kind of look at and like watch you guys embrace my kids, and as they grow, and support them and stuff like that. That means a lot, obviously, in the grand scheme of things too.
I love it. I mean, every time I see your girls, they run up and give me a hug. Chris, East will come up, give me a high five. Kenan will give me a hug.
Yeah.
Jax will tackle me. He's built like a semi truck, but
Yeah.
I love it. He comes full speed and takes me out. And I love that when and same thing. I mean, Kason, he can't run yet, so it's fine. But he loves you guys. But I love that when I see them, it's like, oh, hey, this is Braden. They come and give me a hug, and like you said, Brady, that they have that relationship, and likewise my kid has that relationship with you guys.
yeah, agreed. We're very fortunate, very blessed, very grateful for you guys, for all of your dads, and I think you guys would say the same. And for the other father figures in our lives, whether that's coaches, teachers, mentors, whatever you want to call it. I think it is very important to have a strong and positive male figure in everybody's life. And I recognize, after reflecting on over the last little bit and on Father's Day, I'm very fortunate to have a lot of incredible men in my life. So yeah. So moving on from the sappy stuff.
Ew, gross.
Yeah, people listen to us for that.
Nauseous.
People listen to us for that.
Throw up.
Yeah, don't talk about your feelings. That's the old.
That's
Yeah, that's
what we're trying to get through.
Yeah, that's what we gotta.
We started
Gotta
this
get past
podcast with
that.
"How you guys doing?" It's men's mental health awareness.
Stop
We're
sharing
gonna be
your
in tears by the
feelings.
end of it.
Be
Don't
too
talk about
tough.
your feelings. Yeah.
Share your
still-
feelings. Get
We'll edit
canceled.
all that out.
We're still working through that. Um, no, I mean the NBA finals are going on, and I mean Chris used to be a pretty big basketball fan, but now
You can't, dude.
Yeah, I thought you were a Pacers fan.
I'm not a Pacers fan.
well he was a Paul George fan.
He was a Paul.
I was a Paul
Okay.
George fan.
Okay.
I went to Indiana on my mission, so I want the Pacers to do well. I don't, but again, I can't watch basketball anymore.
Yeah, it's
Talking
It's
about
crazy.
soft. Let's talk about the
crazy.
NBA. Like,
How far the NBA has dropped in, I think, just in general viewership, like over the last 5-10 years.
yeah, I agree.
It's just-
it's awful, and
Why-
I
why
cannot
is that?
stand. It doesn't matter who's playing. It can be any team in the NBA, any two teams in the NBA that are playing each other, and they talk about fucking LeBron James.
Chris is a really big LeBron James fan.
What are we doing?
Loves-
If you
LeBron
didn't know,
James.
Chris loves LeBron James
Like die-hard LeBron James fan.
passionately.
It's opposite day, right?
Yes.
No, it's mental health and mental health month.
He's
you're
gonna
listening.
he's gonna give me a mental breakdown. That guy, I can't stand him.
No, but I would agree. The NBA and Braid, to answer your kind of question, like I genuinely don't know why the viewership of the NBA went down. Like maybe I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah,
Dude,
I mean,
it's,
I
it's
think
all the
back.
flopping and all the soft. I'm telling you, no one wants to. The people like in our generation, and older, the people that used to watch basketball, want to see old school ball where they're banging down low. They're not, you know what I mean. They're not
They want to see the
flopping.
Rasheed Wallaces, the Ron Artest, throwing punches
Kevin
in
Garnett's,
stands.
the Paul, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so boring to watch now because they don't do anything.
When I feel like that is kind of something that is taken over like in a lot of sports. Like football is very
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of rule changes in football. Granted, I don't think that they're bad changes. I don't it's not like go play a sport and get CTE, obviously not encouraging that. But there are some rules where it's like, come on, man, like
Yeah.
this takes the fun out of the game, where it takes the toughness out of the game, and it just makes it. And I think one of the things, going back to your question, Brady, on the drop in popularity, I think one of the hardest things about NBA, at least in my opinion, is the market disparity is so drastic. I feel like in the NBA versus in other sports, like it feels like in the NBA, it's always the large market teams that are usually doing pretty good. This year's a little bit different because
Yeah.
I feel like Indiana and OKC aren't
Huge.
your typical
I mean,
large
Indiana definitely
market
not.
teams. You know, that's like LA, Miami, New York, kind of that
Boston.
stuff. Boston, yeah.
That has been refreshing, honestly, to see.
Yeah, that's
Not the big
that's the
market
one
teams.
thing that I've liked about this series is it's not teams you usually see.
Except Chris
Yeah.
wishes LeBron James in the finals.
I wish LeBron James would
And-
retire.
And it's actually a close series.
It's a
Like,
good
you-
series too.
Yeah,
Yes,
how-
going to game 7.
3-3, yeah, going to
Yeah,
game
yeah.
7.
That's
You have Halliburton, he takes over. You have
But it's like-
SGA taking over.
You got some big names, but I mean, obviously I don't follow NBA, so I can't really say, But I do feel like, from what I've seen and kind of what limited amount that I've watched, there's a couple big names, but it's mostly just team ball.
Yeah.
Like both teams are playing good, solid basketball.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I think one of the things that's been refreshing about this series too is it feels like both Indiana and OKC have like built their teams from the ground up. Like, they didn't go out and do like these crazy blockbuster trades. I mean, they traded some key parts and whatnot, but like they drafted well and then they developed well and they've kept kind of a core group together that has kind of taken them to this point. but maybe I am completely missing some big trades that I.
Well, there was some big trades. Pascal Siakam, right,
Oh
is
yeah,
is a huge trade.
yeah.
Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton is a huge trade from Sacramento.
He's
Yeah.
been hurt,
Sacramento?
so he isn't.
Was it Sacramento?
No, I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
I don't think it is
I'm
Sacramento.
gonna know more than anybody.
I think it's Sacramento, but I could be wrong. But yeah, there's some big trades, but there are quite a few like smaller names that they're just good role players
Yeah,
and they're good help for those stars. SGA, Tyrese Halliburton, Pascal Siakam. They just have good guys around them that are good enough to make them a really good team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right, Chris. It was from Sacramento.
Was
I'm
it?
sorry
Okay.
for questioning your
Yeah,
wisdom.
That's right. That's what I. You know what? It's okay. It's fine.
Dude, honestly, the softness, like the NBA, it's hard too. And it's similar for me with baseball. Like regular season NBA basketball
Oh
is
my
so
gosh,
boring
It's
to
so
me.
boring
Like,
to watch.
I don't want to watch a game, especially the Jazz because they suck.
They're
But
horrible.
I mean, same thing with baseball, right? There's a million games, and I don't even watch baseball until October when it matters. Same thing with the NBA. Like I'll chime into the NBA finals, but it just is so like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like and maybe that's where that softness comes from is because they're playing so many games throughout the season, and then they're really locking. I don't know, but by that point, I'm tuned out. I don't know.
no, I think it's a. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Chris.
I was just gonna say I just can't. I can't watch it. I can't.
I think it's a really valid point. Like when you give two like what NBA has 82 games
Yeah.
in the season,
Something like that. Yeah.
Baseball is 130,
130 something.
31, something
Yeah,
like that.
There's a
like
lot of games.
like with that many games going on, like singular regular season games just don't mean anything, right? Like they don't mean anything until it's like a playoff chase or
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it's not like the NFL where like every game kind of counts like
Yeah.
beyond
Yeah.
like week 5, where it's like, oh, I mean, all 16 games count, but it's like there's less of a room for error, so
Yeah.
it makes the games
Yeah.
more
And
significant.
I'm not happy to watch 4 games a week, right? It's
Yeah, you can watch
one
Yeah.
one game a week that I can lock into,
One.
and I can play
Wait,
fantasy
you're not
football.
You're not watching primetime games.
Well, if I'm, you know what?
I will
You're
watch a
right. You're right.
football
I'm
game
saying
regardless of
specific
who's playing.
team. Specific
Okay.
team.
All right, got it.
A specific team. You're right. I do. Tessa hates it. I definitely watch more than one game a week.
Yeah.
She
the
she
thing,
hates
like-
football season for that reason.
Yeah. so
Regardless
silly.
of who's playing, I will watch
Yeah. On primetime.
because well, yeah, but like also like during like a Sunday morning, like let's say like I don't have a team that's playing, I've got a game
yeah,
on.
that's fair. That's fair.
I'm watching.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Carly's actually become a pretty big football fan, and she like loves having football on, which has been
Will
really.
you ever talk to my wife?
Yeah.
Seriously.
My Carly just likes certain players, so
She just likes to look
Just
at
the
their
handsome
butts.
ones.
yeah, she does. She likes the handsome ones. She's a big Joe Burrow fan, so got that one going for
not a
her.
lot
She
of
loves
Shiesty.
Kirk Cousins. I don't know how you can hate Kirk Cousins anyway, but
Kirk Cousins is such like a dad.
I think part of it was because we watched that quarterback series,
Yeah,
That's
right?
right.
And he was a
He's
very
a
likable
stud,
guy,
yeah.
and she just likes to follow individuals, but she has gotten a lot more interested in like sitting down and watching a game,
yeah.
and then absolutely shitting on our team when it doesn't go the way.
She just likes
And
to
then
talk
when
the
they
talk
play-
after.
Yeah, like they. She has the nicest way of putting it, but it's always just like they always do this. They always do this to us.
The Broncos are always doing this.
It's
That handsome devil of a
like
linebacker's always doing this.
we went to the Warriors game last week, Warriors rugby game here in Utah. Shout out Warriors for getting their absolute butts handed to them tonight. But went to the game last week and we were up like 17-0, and she was just like, "They're gonna let them back in. They always do." And sure enough, they let him back into the game. Ended up winning, but like, she was just like, it was just really funny to watch.
I'll give her some points for that, honestly.
it's pretty
She's
good.
been paying attention.
Yeah, she recognizes trends. But
My wife will be like, hey, what time can I go get a churro? Is this almost over?
okay, I got a story about food. I'll make it quick. Okay, me and Carly on our honeymoon went to a Broncos game. Okay, went to a Broncos game. My first Broncos game I ever been to. She was kind enough to go to a Broncos game. Okay, so we get up there, and she's like, I want kettle corn. And I'm like, I just want to watch the game. She's like, but I really want kettle corn. We've been married 48 hours.
You better
Okay,
get
fine.
kettle corn.
So we go get kettle corn, and I missed the freaking first touchdown. To this day, I still hold it against her.
Well, to this day, she still had you go make her
And
popcorn.
anytime I would say, like, let's go to another...
Oh, my. I'm sorry. I had to say it. I'm sorry. Continue. I'm sorry. Continue.
Okay.
I'm sorry. We won't tell the backstory on that. Continue.
Anyway, so anytime we go to a game, she's always hesitant to ask if she can go get something.
She's like, Brady gonna be pissed at me?
Yeah.
I don't blame her.
So
Well, I mean, so I do agree that I think the NBA viewership is starting to decline, but it does seem like the WNBA viewership.
Dumb?
is-
Did you just say W?
I was going to say WNBA.
You're gonna be
He
in trouble.
purposely slipped that one in there.
I see what you did there.
WNBA.
Hot take.
I was saying
get
Canyon
me
says
bounds in here.
Canyon says WNBA. How do you feel
He
about
hates all
that?
women's sports.
Dumby. I mean, if he's talking specifically about Angel Reese, she's got like 37 me bounds on the year.
Me bounds?
Did you not hear
She
about this?
calls them-
Did you guys?
Oh.
She drives me nuts, dude.
She is it copyright?
She's
No,
trying
that's the right
to.
word.
She's trying to trademark.
trademarking the word me bounds. Because she misses so much, she has to get her own rebound.
Yeah, claim that.
Pretty trolly and pretty petty, which I can get behind.
I hate it.
I can't stand her.
I dislike her.
I'm
She's
not
terrible.
I'm not an Angel Reese fan, but I can get behind being a little petty and trolly sometimes when if people are like-
Trademarking the word me bound when you
Me-bound?
miss so much you have to get your own rebound.
It's
Have you
kind
guys
of
seen the
funny
TikTok
if people
group?
are trolling her and calling them me bounds, and she's like, "Okay, I'll call them me bounds," and just
She's
trademark
calling
it.
them that.
There's a TikTok group that does a bet every single day that she will miss the first shot.
I bet they made a lot of
And
money.
they-
I'll get in on that.
They've won like 12 out of the last 11 days, or like 13 days. My math was
12
off
out
there,
of
okay?
11.
Let's move on. Let's go. Come on, okay?
But I do think that Caitlin Clark has actually brought quite a bit of good. I mean, the we had the instance with the fight the other night that has kind of been going around on social media.
Shout out Sophie Cunningham.
But what?
Agreed.
Oh.
She's a dog.
Speaking
No,
of people
I
who are
agree.
tough and not soft, the WNBA is definitely getting a lot more.
Honestly,
Scrappy
I
with
think
Caitlin
that
Clark.
I would rather
Being-
watch a WNBA game because they're actually going at it.
They are.
Honestly,
That's
Caitlin
like-
Clark's like a punching bag in the WNBA
Yeah.
now.
And I don't
Every other
understand
day.
that,
beat
by the
up.
way.
No.
They're just mad she's so good.
It without getting too political, I think a lot of it is like they want equality type stuff, and because Caitlin Clark is such a big name, they feel like, hey, we've been here, we've been doing this, we deserve the same, right?
I mean, but I honestly think the biggest issue is that everybody, like people outside of the game, were saying that she was going to come in and be great. People inside the game were like, "It's not going to be that easy."
And she's making it that easy.
NBA, and she is making it that easy, and
Yeah.
she's playing the same game, and so I think that there's a lot of frustration of like, you can't do this. You shouldn't be able to do
Yeah.
it. I don't think it's so. I mean, I get what you're saying, Brady, but at the same time, like I just think it's she has taken over. She is the face of the WNBA. I think that's fair to say. I think you can debate between her and Angel Reese as far as like who's bringing up the most headlines about the WNBA, but either way, she's in the conversation.
Yeah.
And she's doing things that people haven't done ever, like. So I just think there's a little bit of, but I agree, Chris. Like there's is some toughness,
Yeah.
like in the WNBA.
They're competing. They're actually competing.
And there's like this chippiness,
Yeah.
and like.
And I think, honestly, in my opinion, I think Caitlin Clark's brought that in because they're like, hey, like, we can do this too. And so it's getting scrappy. It's getting.
I love
They're
it.
trying to show out. And Caitlin Clark is still the best in the game in the WNBA,
She's so
in my
good.
opinion. But I love the scrappiness, and they're trying to show out. And I think that's why it's gotten better. That's why, you're seeing, the stuff with Caitlin Clark, with Sophie Cunningham coming in and defending her teammate. Like, it's entertaining. And
Yeah.
I think when's the last time? Let me ask you guys, like, genuinely, when's the last time that you would turn on like a women's college basketball game?
I still don't.
I have
I've
the
never.
only time I've ever turned on a game was the
Iowa.
LSU Iowa game.
I turned that one on too.
That's the only time that I've ever like, oh, I want to watch this and sit down and watch.
And that was was that because of Caitlin Clark?
Yeah.
I think it was Caitlin Clark. I mean I will
And Angel Reese,
and I
but-
think it was Angel Reese and kind of and that like whole team. But yeah, I mean,
I think for me, Caitlin Clark is the prime Steph Curry type comparison. Now, and the only reason I say that is like when you watch them, it's like you're anticipating Steph to hit a step back three or something like that. Like, I think Caitlin Clark, you're like anticipating them making a play, right? And it's kind of like this anxious, happy anticipation. And I think when you have a player that brings that type of energy to a stadium, to an arena, like that's a completely different atmosphere than say, I mean, like obviously, like, sorry, Chris, I'm going to say it, but LeBron obviously has been doing it for a long time, but it's like at this point he's had enough publicity that it's not cool anymore. It's kind of just LeBron is going to go make a play. Like he's going to do something, but it doesn't get people as excited. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I think Caitlin Clark carries a different type of energy to a league that potentially has never had that level of like. She's a phenomenal generational player, but I think there's just something about her game and the way she plays and the way she carries herself that's just different than what's been exposed to in the WNBA before.
Yeah, and I think people just like to watch greatness, and whoever it is, Caitlin Clark, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan,
Tiger Woods.
Yeah, I honestly think like that's why it's so enticing, is because people love to see greatness and they expect greatness from these people who have shown greatness and who continually show that greatness, and so they keep coming back. They keep drawing, viewership. They keep drawing, stories to be told because they perform and they're clutch.
Yeah. Well, I think Caitlin Clark. I think Steph is a good comparison. I mean, I think it's a little early. I think Steph is one of the all-time best players ever in the league, personally. But what I think is similar between them is Steph and Caitlin both are one of the only two people where I've seen them pull up and take a shot, and I have visibly thought, like, no way. There's no way this is going in. And it's as pure as can be. And they sink it, and it's like, yeah, they're different.
They're it.
It's a different.
I mean, it was the same thing with Jimmer at BYU, and obviously he flopped once he got to the NBA. But like, he was. I mean,
In
BYU
college, that was
incredible, yeah.
that was some of the funnest basketball to watch.
Yeah,
is
I
March
agree. I
Madness.
did like watching BYU basketball when Jimmer was there.
Yeah,
That was a fun time.
Because one of the things, I mean, he had a crazy jumper, but I feel like one of the underrated parts of Jimmer's game was in college specifically, he could create a lot of shots.
Yeah.
Like he was a good
He's a
shot.
baller.
He's a baller over in China too.
Hey, he's making bank,
Shanghai
too.
Sharks, man.
He's retired now.
He's retired now.
I know.
He played in the big. I think it's the Big Three
Big
league
Three.
or whatever.
That tournament.
Yeah. But no, that was, man, Jimmer in college. There's some freaking
So-
dang good college basketball players.
So off of that, what are some of your guys' top 5 sports moments that you've witnessed? Like, I'm not talking like highlights. Like, I want it to be stuff that like you guys have like seen in person, or like you were watching the game when.
Oh. Okay. That changes my list.
Oh, sorry.
I thought we were
Mine too a
just
little bit,
doing.
but we'll-
Just
We can do a
involving
hybrid.
ours.
I mean, we can do that. Let's just
We
just
can do a
go off of that.
hybrid.
Let's just go off of like your guys' personal top 5 moments.
Yeah, that's what I planned for. But
Okay.
if you want to do, we can do that
We can
too.
do
I'll do a mix. I'll mix it up.
yeah,
I mean, it is a mix. I've seen a few of these.
Okay, so let's so Chris, you've got your list. Let's go with your first one. What's
My-
your first one?
Okay, are we starting at 5 and going to 1? We're starting with our
Five
very
being-
favorite.
one being the best, or
1 being
5
our very favorite, the best thing we've ever seen.
Okay, let's start with 5.
Okay.
and work up to 1.
All right. So my 5 I have is the kick 6,
Okay.
Okay.
the
six.
Auburn,
Yeah,
the
That-
Auburn,
Is that-
Alabama.
Alabama.
that one was a crazy
That-
one.
Dude, I bet being at that game was
That
a
Oh.
was ridiculous.
That
And there,
that would have been so fun to watch in person.
You can't watch that highlight clip and not get
Yeah,
like,
pumped.
and, you're just
Yeah.
like, oh my, yeah.
It was
Crazy.
unreal.
Yeah, that was
and
ridiculous.
and having served a mission in Alabama, like
Yeah,
I know how legit that rivalry is.
the Iron Bowl.
People were losing their mind, guaranteed. Like the house probably burned down from that play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was unreal.
All right,
I
Brady,
forgot about that.
what do you got? What do you got for
Number
5?
5. This is more of a core memory for me because I remember exactly where I was when it happened. But I believe it was 2011. I need to look back at the dates. When Tim Tebow beat the Steelers on the first play in overtime to win the playoff or win a playoff game. And it had been our first playoff game for the Broncos in like years.
And
But I
wasn't-
think I remember one of the reasons why it was like one of the most shocking is that was one of the first games that me and my dad sat down and watched together and watched the whole thing. And obviously the whole Tebow mania was kind of popping off and nobody had belief in him, and he comes in and throws this strike to Demaryius Thomas and they win it on the first play in overtime. So
Yeah.
that was a big one for me that I just had a lot of emotion tied to it.
That he put that on a rope to DT too on that.
Right across the middle,
Oh, yeah.
first, right in front of Ryan Clark, who's
Yeah.
all over ESPN now. So,
That was a good. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay,
yeah.
Braden, what's your number 5?
Yeah, my number 5 was actually when Ronda Rousey got knocked out by Holly Holm.
Okay,
I don't watch
I
a lot of
watched that
UFC,
one. I remember that.
but I remember like
Wait,
all
did I
the
watch
hype.
that at your
Was that-
house?
Was that together?
I think
we
that might have
watched it
been
in
at
my
your
basement.
house,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so.
We've watched a couple fights together.
Yeah, I just remember like there was so much hype. Like Ronda Rousey had never lost, and then just boom, boom, she was gone, and it like I just remember all the hype, and all of a sudden it was done, and Holly Holmes was it after that.
Yeah.
So,
That's crazy
That's a
one.
good one. That was a good one. Nobody thought that Holly Holmes was going to win that
No.
fight either.
no, not a chance.
My number 5, it's not a singular moment, but it's a pivotal moment in my life. It was the 2009 Sugar Bowl, the Utah.
Oh, that was a good one.
Alabama. Yeah.
Watching that game, it was just like, holy crap, we did it.
Yep.
We beat
That people in Alabama still bring that up to this day.
them. I hope they
Like
do.
without even knowing I'm a Utah fan, they would bring that game up.
I hope they remember that forever. That
Yep.
we brought it to them. I'll kick it off with number 4. This one is actually a high school memory. I think we were all at this game. You remember Devin Rasmussen's, or not? It was Jaden. Sorry, it was Jaden Rasmussen.
Oh, my.
yeah, that's a great one.
gosh.
That's
Oh,
a good.
dude.
The
That-
inbound play, screen to a jumper for 3 to win the
Wild.
game over
Up
Lone
at
Peak.
Weber State.
No, that was at the Maverick Center.
It was at the Maverick Center, but it was over.
Are you
over
sure?
that-
Uh huh.
Yeah.
I thought it was Weber State too.
I thought it was at Weber State's college basketball.
No, they put the court in the Maverick Center. They took out the ice and put the court in there.
No, I remember that though.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
that was unreal.
Jaden Rasmussen game winner was like that was one of the craziest moments.
That's
I
a good
forgot
one.
about that.
Yeah, that's
man.
a
Like,
good
Dang,
one.
that's a really good one.
That dagger, dude. Oh my gosh.
So many.
All right, Braden.
Yeah, this one. I mean, there was no significance to this game, but just the feeling that was there. So I was at a Cubs game at Wrigley Field. If you ever been to Wrigley, just historic stadium. They were playing I want to say the Rockies, and only Cubs game I've ever been to was in like the bottom of the 12th inning, so it was extra innings, and it was dead silent in that stadium, and the Cubs hit a walk-off home run to win it, and I have never heard a place erupt so loud in my life. Like, people in Chicago are diehard Cubs fans, and it was electric. It was so cool. Like, I have it on video still, and I'll go back and watch it, and I'm like, every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, the feeling when that happened was crazy.
That's
like
insane.
That's a good one.
I like it.
I've got a twofer here because
Okay.
it's two individual BYU Utah games.
Okay.
First one BYU won, second one Utah won. But so the first one was, I'm trying to think now what year it was. I think it was 2008. It was the year that Max Hall completed at Dennis Pitta over the middle, split the defenders, scored the touchdown to win the game. I was at that game,
My heart.
and
Yeah.
that was insane. My mom surprised me that day for tickets to go. Her friend got her tickets, so we ended up going. Was at the game, so it was really cool. Second one was out watching the game with all of you guys in Chris's basement
Oh yeah.
when they hit the double doink on field goals. When BYU kicked 2 field goals, hit the post twice,
Yeah.
and then missed
Yeah.
because there were penalties on both the first 2 kicks. But the freaking anticipation in that moment with all of us standing there freaking out was one of the best moments.
It was
I think,
fun. I
thinking
remember
about
that.
one.
It was fun.
I think Canyon's Carly still has videos of us
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
watching that
Freaking
game.
Posted them all
Yeah.
over
That was-
Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
that
sure.
was so good.
Okay, my number 4 is none other than the Philly special.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good
Pretty
four.
good one.
Yeah. But I
Philly-
mean, oh, that was so fun to watch.
That Philly special was
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And just the lightning that struck once with Nick Foles.
Oh, he's
Man.
my goat.
What a
That was just a cool
So
run.
He's
much
my goat.
handsome.
what a time.
Now he's a pickleball champion.
Ew.
He kills it in
And
pickleball.
after
Add that to the top 5 sports moments list.
Yeah. Are we? Am I going to 3 again? 3.
Yeah,
My
you're
turn
going
again.
3.
Okay. So I have an honorable mention at 3. It's like a 3.5.
Okay.
Is
Do you have an actual 3?
Huh? I have an
have
actual
a-
3. So I'll do this one really quick and then I'll do my 3.
Okay.
At Nationals, Canyon, this is probably going to be on your list.
Yeah.
At Nationals,
This is actually my 3 too.
it is? Okay,
This,
perfect.
this is my 3.
Okay, so both of us. But
Yeah.
we, in rugby, goal line stands are very difficult because of all the things that are moving around, all the people moving around, all this stuff. And a lot of times in rugby, games don't have more than probably, I don't know how many phases they have, but there's not a lot. And in this national championship game, our boys had a goal line stand of like 41 phases. Something absolutely ridiculous, unheard of goal line stand.
Yeah.
It was one of the coolest things to watch because the team we were playing, they were within a meter of scoring, and our boys just kept going and going and going and going, and it was one of the most amazing things that I've seen.
Yeah. I mean, like 5 minutes of just nothing but determination, love for each other, grit. Just it was unbelievable. It truly was unbelievable to watch. And I mean, in our coaches chat, Jeff still gets messages from other people about just how unbelievable that moment was.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what's your true three then?
Okay. See this? My shirt.
Yeah.
My three is the AI step over Tyronn Lue.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's that's iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you?
Dude.
And that's the competitiveness and the toughness.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's missing.
Like that,
Just the attitude.
yeah, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Like I just put you in your place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Agreed.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. So Brady, what's your three?
I'm trying to remember. I just looked up the year, but this is kind of a collective. I don't know if it's necessarily a moment, but it's a kind of a collective time frame. Kind of going into what made when I really loved watching the NBA was Derrick Rose's MVP season in 2010 to 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I still find myself from time to time going back and just looking up highlights of that season in particular. I know it's not a particular moment, but I couldn't narrow it down to one particular play he made because it was just he was playing a different level of basketball. And it was so cool and so fun to watch. And unfortunately, with his career, the way that the trajectory of it was, but man, he was. I wanted a pair of Derrick Rose shoes so bad.
After saying that,
Right? It's like I've watched tons of Kobe, who's greatness, LeBron. Never really wanted their shoes. Was like could care less. I didn't care what the Derrick Rose shoes looked like before they even came out. As soon as I heard they were coming out, I was like, because of that season, I wanted them. So that's a big one for me. Is I just remember feeling when I'd watch him play.
It's a good one. Okay, I like it. Braid?
Yeah, this one almost dropped to number 4, but just because he's my boy, I'm gonna throw him in number 3. You guys probably won't know who he is, but Dustin Pedroia played for the Red Sox. He's retired now. Was a 5'8" second baseman, small dude, like same size as me, maybe like a half inch taller. We'll give myself an extra half inch. But an absolute dog, like small, always underestimated. Ended up being the AL, rookie of the year that year. But there was a specific game against the Rockies again. Apparently, every baseball one on my list is against the Rockies. But went 5 for 5 that game. Ended up best game of his career. Like I remember seeing the highlights. I didn't watch the game, but just because he's my dog, I wanted to throw him in the list. So
Number 3. I do remember Dustin Pedroia. I mean, I don't follow baseball like that, but I do know who he is.
Yeah.
So that's a solid one. My 3 was the Hammer Rugby stand. Hard to not put that on there. Like unbelievable moment. It's hard to convey.
Yeah.
I think if you weren't there, but truly unbelievable to witness. My number 2 was the interception for the Bengals to win their first playoff game in 30 years against the Raiders.
Okay, yeah.
That seeing that in person and like witnessing the Bengals win the playoff game was unbelievable. As a Bengals fan for a long time, that didn't think it was ever going to happen.
I like it. Yeah, my number 2, I think this was 2015 maybe, was the fake punt return against Oregon that Utah had against Oregon.
Oh,
With
what was his name?
I don't remember, but because we were already blowing them out, and Oregon, like, just something about them, just want to blow them out every time, and I love that, like, foot was on the gas, just step on their throats, and I just remember seeing that, and I was like, let's freaking go, put them in their place.
Was it Shaky Smithson?
I don't remember. Let me look.
While he's doing that, Brady, what was your 2?
Oof. Maybe it's a little bit of recency bias. But this last year, and I don't really know why I just remember like freaking out. Was the Parker Kingston punt return against Kansas State. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Oh yeah, this last year.
I remember being really frustrated in the game. BYU was winning and doing well, but the punt got kicked over his head. He's running backwards, catches it, recoups it on the 4, turns up, and ends up returning it for a touchdown. And I think that was, for me, I was just like, that play had such emotion, and it was just like, wow, that was a terrible kick, or an awesome kick, and then a terrible job by the returner, and turned all the way around, and it was a cool moment.
Cool. I like it. Good one.
It was Booby Hobbs. Ken.
Booby Hobbs. Yeah, Shaky Smithson was like way before
Yeah,
that.
I was gonna say Shaky Smithson was old.
Yeah, Booby Hobbs. Good old Booby. Chris?
My number 2 is the Miracle in the Meadowlands.
Okay.
Do you remember that one?
I do. That was a good one.
Deshaun Jackson returning a punt to win the game.
Yeah, I mean that's like
Against
that's
the
like
Giants? Dude.
Yeah, I mean that's like one of the most insane plays. Like he drops it,
Yeah,
muffs
picks it up.
Just steps back and then just
Yeah. That was, I remember watching that game, and I lost it. That was, dude.
Deshaun
And especially because it was against a rival, right? Against the Giants. Oh, dude. It was so awesome.
Yeah, the Miracle in the Meadowlands is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's one of those ones that'll be talked about.
Yeah, forever. Yeah. My number 1 is probably a pretty popular one, but I don't know how you beat it. I really don't. The Miracle on Ice. I just don't know how you beat that.
Yeah, that's an underrated one that I don't think a lot of people like. But I think like if you know how insane that was.
Yeah. It's just, I just don't know. I don't know what moment in sports history beats that one.
That's fair. That's fair. And I mean it's just something that gets you like that good old like that pride.
Yep.
You're just like,
It was ready to go after watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like it.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay, Brady.
I'm going back and forth because I've got like one that's like personal, and then another one that's like, I don't know. Okay, so I'll say this one. So this one, and little. This is more of a personal plug, kind of similar to your guys' rugby. I think this last year, winning. So being able to coach my little brother for the last 5 years. Getting to the championship in our age group once, losing, and then getting eliminated in the first round for 3 years straight, and then finally being able to win the ship last year was probably one of the better. Like, obviously, we won championships in rugby, and those are always going to be super high on my list.
Yeah.
But there was something about kind of the work that we put in and like all the build up for last year. So I'll go with that with my number 1. I think that one is probably one that's solidified pretty cemented for me.
Cool. I like it. Yeah, I mean that makes sense that's a pretty big one for you. And again, congratulations on the state championship.
Appreciate it.
Grade?
Yeah, mine's personal as well, but it's happy and sad. So my senior year of baseball, we were waiting to hear if we made it into the playoffs or not. Got the call saying that we didn't, and it was my last game. Right, heartbroken. You guys know that feeling, obviously. Senior year of sports is tough. But I remember like 3 hours later, somehow there was a mix-up, and we got back into the playoffs, and we ended up, somehow getting into the play. I still don't, to this day, don't know where the mix-up was, why, how, what. But I remember I was sitting in the batting cages, still at the field 3 hours later, just like soaking it all in.
Yeah.
And we got the news, and I was like, I've never been more excited. Then we went on to lose the game, but but that, like personally, like my senior year of baseball, those last couple games, getting that call as well, like super powerful moment. Like I'll always remember that feeling of finishing up my high school career. And I figured since we're the anonymous super seniors, I'd throw that out there. So
That's a good one. I wish I would have done a personal one.
Yeah, same.
I did not do a personal one. So my number one was actually the Villanova national championship game winner, the 3-pointer.
it's a good one.
That I was watching the game and just remember thinking, I can't believe I just witnessed like a 3-pointer to win a national championship. That seems like so shallow for what you guys just said. Personal moments and like all these like really, but yeah, that one I don't know. That one was crazy for me.
Just tell everybody you were on that
I
Villanova
got
team.
an honorable mention of probably I'd say my number 2. I'll throw this out there.
Okay.
Saquon's reverse hurdle.
Oh,
When I watched
my
it live.
that
When I watched it live, I legitimately was like, "What did I just witness?
Yeah, that brought a tear to my eye.
What did this is like you see hurdles all the time, but when you see a guy jump backwards over somebody and then gain another 5 or 6 yards,
Well, even before that, the spin move, like
yeah,
everything.
it was.
Yeah, that was.
I actually think I remember.
play.
Yeah, I remember watching that too, and I remember telling Carly like, he just jumped over him backwards.
Just shocked.
I don't even know how to explain what just happened. You need to watch it.
Yeah, you already know I was watching that game, and
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, it blew up. in the
oh,
chat.
yeah.
That was
Just
that was
insane.
wild.
All right. That was fun. I think we'll probably do more top fives or like drafts in the future, but we're running long on this one, so don't want people to get bored of hearing us. So we'll wrap it up really quick. We got asshole of the week. We put out a message to people that follow us on Instagram to put in some assholes of the week. My mom sent a really long
Yeah, she did.
GBT response of like a couple of different drivers. I didn't actually. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't read the whole thing to read. So I'm sorry, Mom.
I read it.
But there was like, yeah, it was like what was it, a cement truck or a
Dump
garbage
truck.
Yeah, dump truck that came through and like hit another car.
Dude, it's like a full-on story. You should read
No,
it.
It is a big story, and I'm sorry.
Chris is like, that was an incredible story.
I
You didn't
love
read
reading
it?
it.
Yeah, so all the weight goes to Canyon for not reading his notes. His mom's ChatGPT
It's
submission.
like five separate messages within the DMs, so it was a lot. We also got a lot of resounding Mike Lees in there.
Oh,
One
Lee.
from Braden's wife.
Yep.
She put that out there, and a couple others. So if you don't know about Senator Mike Lee, probably not going to go into it
Google
right
it.
now.
Google
But
it.
Google it, and you'll find out more about it. And then one of our rugby players suggested one of his teammates, but we're not going to say that one.
That's just rude.
Yeah, that's just messed up. But we did get it. Hopefully we can do some more soon, but want to not go too much longer on this one because we're almost half hour past, and Chris is getting cranky. So
Needs a snack.
I
yeah,
mentioned LeBron again.
yeah.
I'm gonna get cranky. You keep doing that.
So we're gonna wrap this one up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We appreciate again the support. I think the next one we're planning on doing our first in person. Finally, hopefully,
Second in person.
First guest.
Well, first guest.
First guest.
You
first
said in
guest.
person.
I did. That's my fault.
Wrong answer.
Wrongo.
But yeah, just thanks so much again for the support. Thanks for tuning in. Follow, like, share, send to whoever, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Anonymous Super Seniors.
Peace.
Peace.
See you.